Wow. If the hand starts shaking, just blame the adrenaline that is absolutely pumping through my blood, going through my body at the moment after that performance, on what was a sensational performance. And people in the first half were trying to gaslight me otherwise. And you know what? When you're in work like I am today, I really appreciate the colleagues who have allowed me to come up, not only do the video, but also give the game a watch and analyse what was just a beautiful performance. Now, before we do get into the video, I do want to before we talk about the Szobo brilliance and we talk about how good Kanate was and Guehi, oh my goodness, Guehi, if there's a way to shut me up, that is the way to do it. And as you guys know, in the past when I've called it out on Nunes underachieving or, you know, at times other players underachieving, I'm quick to come out and say, you know, look, I told you he's underachieving and this is what I suspected. With Guehi, I never anticipated that performance today. I went as far to say Robbo should have played today. Robbo could have never sustained the level of pressure, the level of pace that was coming up against Guehi today. Every single duel, every single battle, every single one-on-one, every single time he got on the offence, he looked like a danger. And you could just see Arsenal did not want to approach that side of the pitch, and that just shows we might just have the best left-back in the league if he can sustain that level of performance. But the first thing I want to mention is the criticisms on the first half, because if we're going to be chronological, that was the most criticised part of the game. Now, I agree. The final third play was poor. Wirtz, unfortunately, my boy, still didn't quite come out of the woodworks in the first half. Second half, he was better, but the first half, it was just basically what we've seen, giving balls away and not quite linking the final three. But it weren't just him, and it hasn't been just him in a lot of these games. Salah, unfortunately, loved the man, but he's been very poor in the opening games of the season, I must say. Every time he gets on the ball, it appears like he's going to lose it, and that's just a stage that Salah does go through sometimes. But that first half, I felt we dictated the tempo. People disagreed because they saw Arsenal on the ball and they saw them getting all right chances. No clear-cut one-on-ones, but, you know, getting some ricochets off corners and things like that. So when I watched that first half, it was exactly where Liverpool wanted it to be every single moment. Not every moment, but the majority of the first half. For how close the first half was, I felt we'd done really well at dictating the tempo and controlling that game. Where I want to lead to in this match reaction is talking about that second half, though, because when Curtis Jones got brought on the pitch, I knew that we were going to win the game. And I didn't know it was going to be a Szobo moment of brilliance that was going to win us the game, but the way we improved when Curtis Jones came on the pitch, and I've said this time and time again, the hate that man gets is unreal. When he came on, the ball retention, making the right passes, his intelligence is bar none. He was winning us free kicks, and that's why when people disrespect, I don't know if I said Joe Gomez there, I meant to say Curtis Jones, but when people disrespect Curtis Jones in that way, I just want to show them performances like today and just go, but look what he can do. It might just be a 7 out of 10, but it's so integral to what we do. But on to the better stuff. You know, Szoboszlai, oh my goodness, not only the free kick, which was one of the best things I've ever seen in my life, but also the defending, the reading of the game, the winning the duels, winning the headers. It was an all-round right-back performance, and I'm starting to question, you know, listen, Jeremy Frimpong, I love you. Conor Bradley, I love you. Good luck getting back into this team with Szoboszlai there, because the only thing about a player like Szoboszlai, you've got to find somewhere for him. There's got to be a place he can play, and if that's at right-back, I want Szobo to stay in the team, and it's for Jeremy and Conor to push him out of the team. It's as simple as that. I know it might upset the hierarchy, it might upset the balance, but for right now, right here, Szobo at right-back works perfectly, and I'm sorry, the defending that he brings to the right-back area is absolutely sensational. And just to top it off with a goal, I said it when he joined. And bear in mind, when he joined, he was our best midfielder for a good 6 months until his injury. I've said he's the closest thing that we're going to get to a Stevie G, based on his mentality, his resilience. You know, to be an amazing player last season, one of the most integral parts to us winning the league title, to then get pushed to right-back with the arrival of Wirtz, and still put in even better performances. I think he's better at right back almost. He's just got such a vision of the pitch. He was playing long balls. The free kick was sensational. It really was a 12 performance, but better and with defending. Do you know what I mean? It was sensational. So I am very pleased with the way that we orchestrated that performance. And I've got to give a shout out to Kanate. I thought the way he absorbed every ounce of pressure that was attempted by Gyökeres. And I knew we were going to pocket Gyökeres going into this game. I never had a worry at all, because unless the ball's getting fed on a plate for him, which I had a feeling it wouldn't today, he's not an issue. He's basically Haaland in that way. It's just, if you nullify the service, expect the opposition to basically have 10 men, because that's just what players like Gyökeres and Haaland bring. They can get a goal, but they can also be a bit out of the way. And I'll say the same about Salah. It's not just the Gyökeres thing. I thought Salah today, he was more detrimental than alternatively, sort of being a positive to the team. And that's where I'll summarise and just say, once Salah does kick into form, we're going to be a much better team for it. So, but the next player I want to mention, and I'm sorry, I know I'm just jumping here, but Joe Gomez. Joe Gomez, when he came on, there was a moment where Eze was running into the box and Joe Gomez was just behind him. And as we know, with a player like Eze, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for the foul. And the way Joe Gomez manipulated that situation by just giving him a little nudge, just enough to... Once it's replayed on the cameras, you're going to see he never nudged at all, but just enough to tempt Eze into falling down, into giving away the ball and not taking a shot on and trying to find a penalty. I thought it was absolutely sensational. Such a veteran move, experience and everything in between. And I'm sorry, I know there's been links with AC Milan today, and if Guehi comes in, Gomez could go. You have to keep that man. You absolutely have to. He is an asset to this football club, and I've said it for years. When he's fit, he's one of the best centre-backs in the league. I can only think of really one really bad season for Joe Gomez, and that was I think that was was it the COVID year? I think it was the COVID year, but he had a dreadful season. The season we lost to Napoli and stuff, one of the worst performances I'd seen. But since then, since that season, anytime Gomez has been called upon, he's been just amazing. It's the Gomez that won us the league back in 2020. And that's why people need to put more respect on his name as well, because for years I've been calling out that man, calling him one of the best centre-backs in the league when fit. I'm sure there's crucial moments in the game that I'm missing out on. As I said earlier, I am in work, so I do have to basically keep this video short and not overdo it. But for me, I am so reassured in this team. If we can win this game without Isak, if we can win this game without Guehi, I'm sorry, but we've got all the minerals to be league champions again, especially once they arrive. And, what I will sort of finish this video on, because you can see it already, can't you? All the, but we had no Saka, we had no this. Really, besides Saka, Arsenal had everyone available to them. It was unfortunate Szobo went off in the last minute, but I thought Mosquera was no detriment to their performance. And why is that? It's because Arsenal set out to defend. Even if Saliba is going to go off the pitch, once you bring that new centre-back on the pitch, you're still going to have 4 centre-backs defending the back line. Timber, Calafiori. I know that they are full-backs and, Calafiori has his moments going forward, but for me, I do believe that they are just mainly profiled as centre-backs, and, even the way Declan Rice was dropping in as a centre-back. So today was always going to be difficult on an offensive point of view, and I do think that's why we gave a lot of the ball away, but defensively, and their attacking, I knew we would nullify. And also, remember when I said when Jones came on, I knew we were going to win the game? When they brought on Eze and Odegaard, I knew the game was just going to go in our favour. I was like, oh my God, he's bringing on what's going to cause them their biggest weakness, more space on the offence for us, and that was where we got better chances ourselves. Lastly, Arne Slot. That is the reason why he was first last season and Arteta was second, and the reason is the way he manages games, the way that he gets the players through them, the advice that he's given. It's a perfect balance between a manager who cares with passion, but it's also logic, and he's not letting emotion get in the way of the logic of that performance. So again, guys, we've really got to be appreciative. It's never going to be a perfect performance. I think people nowadays expect from minute 1 to minute 90, perfection, maintain the ball, don't give it away. When you play a team like Arsenal, who've spent more than us this summer as we speak, you're going to have difficult choices. They had Eze and Odegaard to bring off the bench today. And listen, Arsenal fans who claim injuries, you can only blame your manager, because bar Saka, you had all your best players fit. Again, once Saliba came off, it wasn't a detriment, because the way you play, you can afford to lose one of the big 2 centre-backs because you've got a lot of people defending the ball. I'm not criticising that. It's just the way Arsenal play. Very prime Mourinho-esque, but without the ruthlessness, without the game intelligence, and I do think Arteta will be the one to hold that club back, because their players, Arsenal's players, are more than good enough to come to Anfield and get a result, and today they didn't, because we had the better manager, we had players who wanted it more, and again, that game management was what saw us through. So guys, let's not look at that first half and go, oh my God, how terrible was it? It's called control. It's called getting to the 45th minute where you're still 0-0. You haven't gave them any clear-cut chances, and now you can really take the game into your own hands, which is exactly what Liverpool did. So, yeah, to summarise this video and to end it, I'm just so proud of this team. Shout out to Joe Gomez for coming on and putting on such a cameo. Shout out to Konate, all the hate and all the abuse he's been getting. Listen, the criticism's fair, but when I saw people saying he needs to be dropped and Guehi's going to walk in ahead of him, I do think you're a bit stupid, because I think Konate has been one of the best performing centre-backs in the league for years, and 2 bad games does not change that, and it didn't change it for me. The only thing that I obviously worry about is the Madrid stuff, but if he performs that level until now and the move to Madrid, Kanate is getting the best send-offs from me. I have no hate against Kanate. I love that man to pieces. Szobo, wow, love you, sir. Closest thing that we've had to Stevie G since Stevie G was here. Guehi, unreal, absolute electrician, just coming up and down the pitch, and the way that he pocketed Managerial, who I actually thought had a very encouraging game. He was their biggest threat, I felt, and I said that going into the game. I know he's a bit of a banter name, Managerial, but what a player he is when in a one-on-one scenario, and Guehi's just pocketed him at every opportunity. It was honestly superb. I've got to give a shout out to Virgil. I thought he was sensational, but we come to expect that level from Virgil. It's almost like standard. You're doing your job. But when you see it from Gomez and Kanate and stuff, you just feel so much more proud because you know the tough time they've had. Gomez not getting game time, Kanate, having a couple of poor performances. I will say, concerns with the midfield, didn't really think any of them stood out, but I thought the way Wirtz grew into the game in the second half was much better. We saw the effort that he had on goal, a couple of shots got blocked, and he was finally making the final third passes, unlike the first half and unlike the first two games. So to see that transition was really lovely to see as well. And then talking on the front three, people who disrespect Gakpo, I'll never understand it. He done really well. Not getting too friendly with Timber today, and I love that. There was a moment where Timber was barely getting up after, getting an injury, and Gakpo was sort of like, well, fuck off then, do you know what I mean? You're expecting me to pull you all the way up. I'm here speaking to the referee, and again, rivalries go aside in a game like today. Thiago, I remember when we played City and Thiago just absolutely nailed Rodri and just walked up and got away, like never helped him up, nothing like that, he just let him know this is war, and this is the mentality you've got to have. This is the sort of old school footballer mentality where it's like, no, I'm not going to be shaking your hand throughout the game, you can leg it. Unbelievable. And again, be encouraged. The fact we haven't got our full squad and we're still getting these points. We're the only team with 9 points out of our first potential 9. And again, no Isak, no Guehi. So any Arsenal fans saying no Saka, realistically, we could say these two players that are near enough nailed on coming in weren't available for us today. Even Ekitike, I've got to give him a shout out because, again, trying things for the 4th consecutive game, got the ball in the back of the net, but unfortunately it was offside. But I want to be seeing that. I want to be seeing you getting offside goals because that means you're just always in those positions. And a bit unlike Darwin Núñez, and this isn't Darwin Núñez slander, but you don't need to give Ekitike 4 or 5 chances to get a goal. Sometimes he just needs one. Just one little sniff and it's in the back of the net. And then I will end it on Salah because though he didn't play well, he really didn't, but do you know just when you can look over at him and the things and the advice he'll give players and telling players where to be, you can't underestimate that importance, and that's why when Salah isn't there, you do notice it. But today, as well as the last 3 games, on the ball he was underwhelming and giving it away at times, and his first touch, as we know, just isn't the greatest. But when that man kicks into form, when Florian Wirtz kicks into form, if you think we're good now, watch how we are in a couple of weeks. We've now got an international break, which I'm not best pleased about, to be honest. I think it always ruins Liverpool, so don't be surprised to see us draw when we get back from the international break. But enjoy this for now. Enjoy the moment, enjoy the performances, and hopefully when we do get back from international break, we're going to have Isak and Guehi as options there as well. So I'm going to leave it there, end the video. Thank you for watching. Up the mighty Reds. That is what we do, and that is what we do best, is win football matches. Arnie Slot, you are the greatest of all time. I love you and your baldy head, you gorgeous, gorgeous bastard. I will see you all later.